Are you looking to invest in IPOs? Well, there's good news for you as 5 IPOs are lined up to hit the D street starting next week. That's November 20th. Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra, and in this video, I'm going to be telling you which are the 5 IPOs that are going to be making debut on the D street next week, and also whether you should be looking to subscribe to each of them, how are they different, and what kind of sectors do they belong to. So Gandhar Oil Refinery India is the first IPO. We also have Fedbank Financial Services IPO, Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency IPO, Flair Writing, and the most awaited IPO of the year, Tata Technologies, will also be open for subscription for the investors next week. So let's discuss all of these 5 IPOs one by one. Gandhar Oil Refinery IPO, the date of subscription is scheduled from November 22nd until November 24th. Now this IPO has a price band which has been set from 160 rupees to 169 rupees per equity share with a face value of 2 rupees, and the lot size has been fixed at 88 equity shares and then in multiples thereof. Now Gandhar Oil IPO has reserved not more than 50% of the shares in the public issue for the qualified institutional buyers or the QIBs, about 15% for the non-institutional investors, and 35% of the offer is reserved for the retail investors. Now this IPO comprises of a fresh issue of 302 crores and an offer for sale of 1.17 crore equity shares by the selling shareholders, including the promoters as well. Now remember, this Maharashtra-based company that caters to consumer healthcare industries will also be repaying about 23 odd crore rupees of its debt for the subsidiary Techsol from the IPO money that will be raised by the company. Further, about 27-28 crore rupees will be spent on the purchase of equipment and civil work required for the expansion of the capacity of the automotive oil at the Silvassa plant. About 185 crore rupees of the funds will be utilized for the working capital requirements. The remaining amount will also be used for the general corporate purposes. Remember, the company enjoys a long-term relationship with several domestic as well as global customers, including Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Marico, Dabur, Incube. We also have Patanjali Ayurveda as a key client of the company, Bajaj Consumer Care, Imami, and Amrutanjan Healthcare. So that's the first IPO you need to know. Which is the second one? It's Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency IPO. Now remember, this is the state-owned company IREDA, which will open for subscription on November 21st and close on November 23rd. Remember, this is the first IPO by a public sector enterprise after LIC was issued back in the month of May in 2022. Now this PSU Mini Ratna, the IREDA, has fixed a price band of just 30 rupees to 32 rupees for this IPO. So it's the lowest ticket priced IPO that's coming up over the next week. Investors here can bid for a minimum of 460 equity shares in one lot and then in multiples thereafter as well. This offer consists of a fresh issue of 40 odd crore rupees of the equity shares and an offer for sale of 26.8 crore equity shares by the President of India, acting through the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy of Government of India. Currently, government holds entire 100% stake in the company. This will be the first instance when the offloading of the shares will happen. Now, at the upper end of the price band, about 32 rupees or so, the IREDA will raise about 1290 crore rupees through this issue and 860 crore rupees via the OFS. At the upper end of the price band, the company is also valued at about 8600 crore rupees as well. About 50% of the issue here will be available for subscription on a proportionate basis by the QIBs, 15% for non-institutional investors, and likewise 35% for the retail investors as well. Now, the company has also reserved some shares for the employees here, and an enterprise under the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. It is engaged in the financing of the renewable energy projects. Now, looking at the financials of the company for the 6 months ended September of 2023, the lender has posted about a total income of 2,320 odd crore rupees as well, and the company's net profit for the half year has also come in at 579 odd crore rupees as well. Now let's look at some of the other IPOs that are coming up. The next one is Fedbank Financial Services IPO. This is a non-banking finance company or an NBFC. Fedbank Financial Services has fixed a price band for the IPO at 133 rupees to 140 rupees per equity share with a lot size of 107 equity shares. This IPO of the South-based Federal Bank subsidiary will open for subscription on November 22nd and will be closed on November 24th. Now, this offer also includes both a fresh issue and an offer of sale. And so the fresh issue is for 600 crore rupees by the company and an offer for sale of 3.5 crore equity shares. And under this OFS, we'll see that the parent company, Federal Bank, will also be offloading 54.7 lakh shares, and the remaining shares will also be sold by True North Fund, which is a private equity fund as well. At the upper end of the price band, Fedbank Financial Services is looking to raise 1,092 crore rupees via this IPO route as well. About 10 crore worth of shares will be reserved for the company's employees or the bank's employees, who will also get a chance to get a discount of 10 rupees per share during this IPO. Let's talk about the fourth IPO then you need to get ready for. It's Mumbai-based Flair Writing Industries. You have been using Flair writing pens and stationery equipments, and this is a very familiar company that's going to be hitting the street. It's going to be opening for the subscription on November 22nd. For a price band of 288 rupees to 304 rupees per equity share. Again, this offer will close on November 24th as well. Now, the stationery products manufacturing company intends to raise 593 crore rupees via the maiden public issue, which again is comprising of a fresh issue of shares of 292 crores and an offer for sale of about 300 crore rupees worth of shares by the Rathod family. The total issue size, remember, has been reduced to 593 odd crore rupees from earlier planned 745 crore rupees as well. The company will be spending the net fresh proceeds that the company will be mopping up with this IPO for new manufacturing facility for writing instruments at Valsad in Gujarat for a cost of 95-96 odd crores. About 86-87 crores will be used for the capital expenditure, 77 crores for working capital requirements as well. Also, the debt amounting to 43 crore rupees will be repaid with this issue proceeds as well, and the remaining funds will be kept for general corporate purposes. Remember, the writing instruments company Flair Writing has reserved half of the issue size, that's 50%, for qualified institutional buyers, 15% for the high net worth individuals, and 35% for retail investors at large as well. Here, you can make a minimum bid for 49 equity shares and then in multiples thereafter. Flair Writing, like I said, is among the top 3 players in the writing instruments industry in India with a revenue of 915 crores at the end of fiscal year 2023. It also enjoys a market share of approximately 9% in the overall writing and creative instruments industry in India. The products are sold under 4 brands, namely Flair, Hossa, Pericarden and Zooks. Now, the fifth IPO that you should be looking out for is perhaps the most anticipated and most talked about IPO, and that is Tata Technologies, whose issue will kick off on November 22nd. And now, this company is a subsidiary of Tata Motors. In fact, it is the first IPO from the Tata Group after nearly 20 years. That's the last IPO that had come from the stable of Tata Group was Tata Consultancy Services back in the year 2004. Now, this company is planning to raise about 3,042 odd crore rupees via the public issue at the upper end of the price band. The issue comprises of only offer for sale by the promoter and the selling investors. The price band for Tata Tech has been fixed between 475 to 500 rupees per share. Investors willing to apply for this issue could bid for a minimum of 30 shares and then in multiples thereafter. Now, Tata Tech has a reserved 10% quota for Tata Motors eligible shareholders, and this is going to be another key watch that you should have on your radar. Now, which of these 5 IPOs or all of them suit your portfolio? Stick around onto Business Today Television to find out key insights from the top market voices and analysts to find out which IPO should you be getting ready to bid for.